Let's talk about the basic triangle from guard. Now, the triangle is an old technique. A lot of people think it came out of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but it didn't. It came out of Judo many, many years before that, although there's some crossover, certainly. There's no question that BJJ has made the triangle popular, especially in modern combatives competitions and so forth, such as the UFC. It's a great, great technique. Many people think of it as a basic technique. I don't think it is. Personally, it seems to me, in my experience, to be more of an intermediate technique, but it's something that you should learn early on and perfect over the course of your training. So, like anything, it requires lots of practice. You really need to get in there, dig into the nitty-gritty of it, understand the subtleties. There's a lot of ways to get into it. It's one of those sort of dynamic techniques that come out of the guard. The guard's its parent, so you start from the guard and you work into the triangle. Now, just a little bit of clarification on the term choke. There's two types of choke. There's a blood choke and a gas choke, or a blood and air choke. I don't use the word choke very often. I use the word restraint, carotid restraint, because I come from a defensive tactics background as well. And so when I'm explaining this to law enforcement personnel or to anyone who's in a position of authority where they might have to use force, I want to talk about the real elements of it, which is you're restraining the carotid arteries and preventing blood to be able to go, in particular oxygenated blood, to be able to go to the brain and keep the brain healthy and alive and functional. So the reason that it works is because you cut that off and the brain pretty much goes out, goes to sleep. And that's something that's inherently dangerous, right? The longer you hold it, the more damage that can happen. We know for a fact clinically that around 4 minutes into things, people can really be in a lot of trouble. You can kill somebody just by holding a carotid restraint, either in the triangle or rear naked, as it's called, rear naked choke. Again, a carotid restraint. So we're going to do this from the guard. There's two basic entries that we're going to just talk about very quickly. And this is just to give you a reference point, okay? Again, lots of subtleties. This is a basic example and basic demonstration. We get into much more intermediate and advanced practice as you continue to work your way through the videos. So from the guard entry, or from the guard, we're going to do, the first entry is going to be a counter to a guillotine. The second one is going to be an escape from the guard where the hand goes down and reaches underneath the leg. Those are two really easy entries. But we're going to get into the key components, because if you understand them, you can be a heck of a lot more functional. So basic guard, closed guard. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm reaching up to grab Jamie into a guillotine. And as I do that, he puts in basic defenses. To illustrate this really quick, even though this isn't a guillotine video, essentially what I'm doing is I'm wrapping around him like this, and then he does an underhook to start to pull my arm away so that I'm not able to maintain pressure on his neck. Now he can also do over. It just sort of depends on the dynamic of the fight. He's going to have more power, generally speaking, from this position. Okay? So it's a great, easy defense. This other arm goes over the back of my shoulder and prevents me from being able to fully extend my neck and my body. That's the whole purpose behind that. So as he's doing that now, I reach across and I grab his opposing arm. And so what that does is gives me an opportunity to slide it away from there, and then I can bring my leg up onto this shoulder. So as this leg comes up onto the shoulder, you can see that my spine is currently running parallel to his spine. I want to move myself somewhat perpendicular, and you do that by getting up onto the top of the hips. So the little subtleties that we're looking at here is I'm up on the hips, I'm going to lift, and then I'm going to let go of this arm and I'm going to grab here. And the reason I'm going to grab here is so that I can extend his arm across. And see how I start to move? Immediately I'm moving and I'm trying to grab this arm. By extending my hips up, what it does is it allows me to get this arm in the right position. So it's like boom, extension, I come back down and I'm able to sink it. So it's literally that simple. The more you practice it, you can see that his face is already going red. Anybody who's ever done this, you know how powerful it is once you get it. So I'm going to do that guillotine one as a good example again. So I grab him, he defends, I grab and reach across, I get my foot up into his hip if at all possible. I'm going to extend and put my leg. I'm going to lift my hips up, and as I lift my hips up, I'm going to put my left leg over the top. Boom, like this. This helps get his arm into the position. I can reach up and grab my toe if I need to, or grab my foot, depending on how flexible you are. And you can see easily, if I lift my hips and grab him here, he's already starting to tap and I haven't even really sank it. Okay? So the next one from the closed guard is he reaches down. Now this is one we use to teach women a lot, and the reason we do is because rapes, sexual assaults take place from this position. The guard's very practical for that. So that might be something to consider when you're sharing this type of technique with women, that this is a very rational thought process, right? And in order for him to be able to take my clothing off, if I were a woman, he's going to reach down and grab it. Now, obviously that's not the case for our MMA. MMA is very different. So as the hand comes down, look at this easy slide up to position. Up here, I got up and I'm rotating. As I push and I rotate, I pull across and I'm going to reach up and grab, boom, here like this. And as soon as I do that, I didn't even sink it all the way. So my goal would be to bring my heel all the way down, and as that heel comes down, it really sinks it in tight. So that's the basic triangle. Go online, get a real good feel of this, look at our other videos, get a partner and practice, practice, practice. It's like everything. You want to do it multiple times until you really get it.